Hello and welcome back to the Indian Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Raj Balkaran, founder of Indian Wisdom School. Today we're going to have a discussion on a very significant day in the Hindu calendar, a day called Diwali. It's so common, it's so popular that many Westerners are aware of this day as a sacred day for Hindus across South Asia and across the diaspora. Also, there are many folks who do not come from a Hindu background who are interested in Diwali and apparently even observing it. Many of those folks are my students. We just did a Diwali workshop just a couple of days ago due to their interest. If you're interested, there's a link for the workshop in the podcast notes where I share some of the significance of Diwali, both on a cultural level, but more important for wisdom teachings and wisdom training as the significance on a spiritual level. And so certainly Diwali is a very festive time. It is akin to Christmas in its social dimension, insofar as it is a time when we get together with loved ones, when we have good food and drink. It is not a time for fasting so much. It is a time that can be marked by gift giving, and certainly one puts aside one's differences around this time of year. It's also akin to Thanksgiving, perhaps, in that it is very much a harvest festival. Unsurprising at this time of year, this sort of autumnal juncture in the northern hemisphere, where we're grateful for the bounty, for the harvest, right? We take for granted that the bounty is available at the local grocery store 24/7 all year round. But understand that we are very much tied to the cycles of nature. And we are fed by the bounty of nature. And there's a cycle for reaping and sowing that bounty. And this is a time of year where we have festivities such as Thanksgiving in the Western calendar, and such as Diwali. Now, above and beyond this being a wonderful communal time, a time of sharing, a time of thanksgiving, a time of indulgence, even, there's a deep, profound spiritual significance to Diwali. It occurs on a particular tithi, which is a phase of the moon, we can say, as shorthand, on Amavasya, which means the new moon. So it's always a new moon night. As to which new moon it is, that's a longer story for the sky gazers among you. But if you think of it this way, Diwali always comes after the goddess festival. So when we have Navaratri, the 9 nights, these 9 waxing nights, starting from a particular new moon, and then we have 9 waxing nights, then we'll have a full moon after Navaratri, and the next new moon is Diwali. Now, I just finished a course on the Ramayana, and I'm very much in love with the Valmiki Ramayana. It was a topic of my master's work. And tradition holds that Rama returns from Ayodhya. King Rama was exiled due to some court intrigue. And he returns after 14 years of exile. The day he happens to return happens to be the new moon day. And so in order to light the path for the return of the exiled king, the citizens of Ayodhya, his capital city, arranged a row of lights, of deepas. Deepavali is the Sanskrit term from which we get the more common Diwali. Okay, Deepavali, a row of lights. So this is not just any row of lights. This is the row of lights that ushered in the return of the king. So it's very much a time of awakening or invoking the light, because this is a dark time of year in the Northern Hemisphere. We all know this. We need to make it through to the solstice, and Diwali is more or less equidistant-ish between the equinox, the fall equinox, where there's equal portions dark and light, but then they shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink, and then you have the winter solstice, which is the darkest day of the year, the darkest night, the shortest day, so to speak. And so Diwali is somewhere in the middle. So you want to invoke the light at this time of year. You want to invoke light and warmth on a literal physical sense. We being mammals, I know there are some among us who are more cold-blooded we might like, but generally speaking, we are warm-blooded creatures. Perhaps many of us have a reptilian aspect, but we need light and warmth and heat. We also need the light and warmth and heat, not just for our bodily temperature, but for our emotional temperature, so to speak. We need kith and kin. We need warm relations. We need to be warmed by our tribe, our families, our communities, right? And deeper than that, because the Indian wisdom school and the students there and are very much interested in the spiritual underpinnings, the deep significance of it all. What this festival has to do with is the awakening of an energy, an archetype known as Lakshmi. Lakshmi is a very, very, very popular, lovely pan-Indic deity. She's typically depicted either seated on or certainly holding a lotus flower. She's very much related to the lotus. Kamala, very common Sanskrit word in these times for a variety of reasons. But Lakshmi is the goddess who represents home and hearth. She's the goddess of domesticity. She is the consort of Vishnu, and Vishnu is the sustainer. And in Indic thought, the consort of the male deity is his Shakti, his power, his energy. She is the energy of the sustainer. Therefore, she is sustenance. She is that energy whereby we are sustained in the world. So, what is required to be sustained in the world? Somewhere to live. A home. She's the goddess of the home. Yes. Clothing, food, nourishment, relationships. She represents all of this, and in particular, intimate relationships. She is the intimate other of Vishnu himself. She's churned from the celestial oceans. We'll talk about that in a moment. And she's like, you know what? Who deserves to be with me? Let me see. Among the assembly of the gods. Vishnu. He's compassionate. He's lovely. He's not hard on the eyes either. I think I'll choose him. So she chooses Vishnu to be her consort. So she's the energy of intimate relationships and all that is required for sustenance. Yeah. She's also emblematic of light itself. So on Diwali, folks typically will have little lights, little lamps. Don't try this at home. And if you do, make sure that you are following your fire codes and not lighting lamps by your, curtains and all that. But typically, Hindus and really anybody who's observing Diwali, Hindu or otherwise, they'll light lamps, whether tea lights or candles or traditional ghee, clarified butter lamps, and clay lamps with ghee and sort of a cotton wick, and they will consecrate them. They'll say prayers, and then they'll take these blessed lamps and place them all over their home, thereby symbolically or energetically inviting Lakshmi to abide in their homes. Lakshmi being, depending on how you think of this, the goddess Lakshmi, the energy Lakshmi, the archetype Lakshmi, the aspect of self Lakshmi. You could think of this in many ways, but really the proof is in the pudding, right? So what you're looking for is a changed consciousness or a changed circumstance. So rituals hold great power, but that power is dependent upon the consciousness with which you view and with which you engage the ritual. Yes. And so inviting Lakshmi into your home is akin to invoking, to cultivating Lakshmi in your consciousness. How do you relate to that energy of sustenance? Are you allergic to nice things? Do you enjoy nice things? Do you enjoy being supported in the world? Are you uncomfortable in the world? Do you sit comfortably in your seat, or do you sit on the edge of your chair, sort of akin to a squirrel ready to pounce, ready to bounce, as it were? We all have different patterns. We all have different vasanas. This is what makes us human. And it is times such as this, and really for those of us who are full-time personal growth students, some of us, all of us need a bit of exercise. Some of us exercise regularly or semi-regularly, and some of us are athletes. Exercise and fitness is always in our mind. Some of us are Olympic athletes. So where are you with personal growth? I mean, do you think about it once a year, once a week, or are you day in and day out trying to become a better person, trying to learn your life lessons, trying to cultivate your potential? For folks such as that, then Diwali is a powerful opportunity for growth, for supplanting one's consciousness with all things Lakshmi. Now, it's interesting that Lakshmi emerges when the demons and the gods churn the cosmic oceans in search of the elixir of life. It's a beautiful and profound and powerful myth cycle that very much has to do with the mechanics of spiritual evolution. And of course, the poison comes first in the celestial oceans. It was neutralized by the throat of Shiva. We've talked about this, where Shiva is this archetype of yogi or the higher self that's able to witness. He doesn't swallow the poison, so he's not poisoned. He doesn't spit out the poison, so he doesn't, poison others of the world. He neutralizes it with his yogic power. His throat turns blue, and he's hailed Nilakanta, the blue-throated one, from that day forward. But after the poisons emerge, like any arduous task, your first day at the gym, your first day, your first week, your first year trying to build a business, trying to transform your body, uh, a relationship. And there's some toxicity, there's some toxins that come out, and you have to deal with the toxins. But then it gets a bit smoother, You don't feel like, keeling over during your third week on the treadmill, for example. It's kind of fun, maybe. And some riches come. So riches emerge. A wish-fulfilling cow emerges, for example. Some divine entities emerge from the cosmic ocean, until at some point, both the father of Ayurveda, Dhanvantari, holding the celestial pot, the vessel, the kumbha, in which lies the ambrosia, the elixir of everlasting life, and also Lakshmi, this wonderful energy. What does this tell us about Lakshmi? To my mind, she's not just sustenance, but she is abundance. She's abundance incarnate. And how could abundance exist in a bounded universe, in a finite universe? So, in search for the elixir of everlasting life, that really, what does that do? That renders eternity onto the cosmic stage, right? Boundlessness, in pursuit of the boundlessness of life everlasting. This is the stage upon which Lakshmi, abundance incarnate, emerges. How could we fit abundance into a finite universe? And this is a mindset. Abundance is a reality, but abundance is a mindset. It doesn't matter how much money one has in the bank or in one's wallet. I've seen this 10,000 times. There are folks who have a poverty mindset irrespective of their wealth, and there are folks who have an abundance mindset irrespective of their wealth. The faith and the comfort that I have enough, I am enough, more will come as needed. This is a mindset. It doesn't mean that one ought not to save for the future or take care of one's loved ones or one's rent or mortgage, etc. One has a responsibility to take care of one's financial needs. Yes. But I've seen this so many times where individuals pinch here and pinch there, and they really live as if they're destitute, versus just opening up the consciousness and allowing the water to circulate. It stagnates. Money's not matter. Money's not gold to be hoarded. Money's energy, especially in this day and age where tap, 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 it's the flow of energy. And energy very much is what Indian goddess traditions are about, Shakti, energy. And for Shakti to be powerful, right, it must flow. The flowing of the Shakti is what avails the power, not the holding of the Shakti. And so circulating the life flow, giving gifts, receiving gifts, whether it's monetary or service or food stuffs, the circulation of the life force through relationships. And this is Lakshmi. And so she emerges during the churning of the cosmic ocean between the demons and the gods, the devas and the asuras, in search for the elixir of life. Right? And I'll share a little bit. And what does she do? She chooses to abide in the heart of Lakshmi, of Vishnu. And so she represents love. Love, I would say more of a divine love, but certainly love of a significant other. Yes. And also, for fortunate, we understand the difference between love that is desire and love that is selfless, a love that transcends the ego, where you love someone such that their happiness is paramount and their welfare is paramount. That doesn't mean you give them license to abuse you because you're being such a good person by being a martyr. No, 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 no. You need to respect yourself and respect your boundaries. Absolutely. But when you love someone, the highest state of loving someone is loving them the way a parent loves a child. Even in an intimate relationship where their welfare is paramount to you. It's a love that helps take you beyond your ego sense versus types of love which bound you to ego sense through money, sex, power, control, status, etc., etc., etc. Okay, I'll share a little bit of the spiritual gloss around the story, and then perhaps we'll close for today to be mindful of your time. And so you've heard the story of the birth of Lakshmi. Relish it. For your mind stuff is the very primordial ocean of which the tale speaks, and you too can, through tremendous upheaval, refine the layers of your consciousness to reveal the immortal purity that serves as the essence of your being. You too can churn and seek the ambrosia, the amrita, the elixir of life. This essence is the ground of abundance. But in order to do so, you cannot ultimately ignore, denounce, or extricate your demons. They are an integral part of you. In order to acquire the most fruitful and balanced results, you must find a way to work with them. Abundance in all manifestations, whether fertility, prosperity, health, love, can be yours. And the lotus, Kamala, symbolizes all of this. The story was rendered in the stories behind the poses for Padmasana, lotus pose, hence the focus on the divine lotus. So for this Diwali season, as a matter of fact, it just so happens that Diwali is the Thursday and this podcast is released on Thursday. That's tomorrow. I'm recording it here Wednesday morning on the way out to a meeting. Today, I suppose, when you observe, if you observe Diwali, certainly engage the outer social dimensions, but also reflect on the spiritual significance of Diwali. Reflect on the time of year, the darkness about us, both with respect to the turning of the seasons and also with respect to the turning of the age that we're all living through, the turning of the times. And in times of great darkness, we are most certainly not called to succumb to it. We are called to cultivate light. What is required in times of great darkness? The cultivation of light, the networking of lights, so that we don't saunter blindly into a misguided future. Keep well. Till next we meet, feel free to reach out if I may be of service, and a very, very happy Diwali to all. Namaste.